So good evening and good morning. Let's begin our reading and reflection hour. And as we mostly do, sincerely aspiring for more stillness, more receptivity, more openness, more longing, more sincerity in our aspiration and in our lives. Invoking Mother and Sri Aurobindo's presence and grace as we begin with gratitude, yet another exploration. Yes. So as we begin, I was just talking to Ritu before the session started, and suddenly this beautiful quote of, I think it's from Imam Ali. It came to me, and it's so beautiful, but we keep forgetting it. The quote is, take only what you need, everything else is just a burden. Or just paraphrasing, it's not the exact word, but take only what you need. The rest is only a burden. Yeah, that's what it was. And yet, when we live our lives, when in our everyday, we hoard so much that it's just unbelievable. And it also, kind of is parallel with a quote my father loved and said it often. It was in Hindi, and the quote was, "Tayari 100 बरस की, एक पल की खबर नहीं." So it's like I prepare for the next 100 years, and I don't even know whether I live the next moment, whether I'll be alive the next moment. So for me,
Sorry, Taru.
Yes,
Sorry,
Charity?
Taru. Yeah, the captain is asking for the link.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, he's in the group. Okay, Sunlit Path. Yeah, yeah, send. Thank you, Charushi. Yeah, so just want to wrap it up. All it means for me, when I'm making decisions on my everyday, I'm often reminded of this, right? Like, take only what you need, rest, everything is a burden. And it's a constant reminder to myself, because there is a tendency in us to just take, to grab, to hold on, or to buy things we don't really need, at least not right now. But we say, okay, we might need it later. We are afraid of giving away things like, even small belongings. What if I would need this or I would need that? And we hoard a lot. So, and it's really beautiful when we are able to not hold on like that. You travel light. Yeah, just wanted to start with that because it just came to me. And welcoming any reflections, anything on it, and moving on. If we have any sharings, we'll be happy to take those. Yeah, so this is the code. Take only what you need. The rest is only a burden, by Imam Ali. Yeah. So, anybody has anything they would like to share today? Vishal had sent me 2 links. I can open them up. He's not here, but we can go through them. But if, yeah. Yeah, Juan, do you have anything today?
I was looking for something. I have a couple of things, but I thought I couldn't connect today, but
Okay.
at
Yeah,
the
in
end,
case you
I'll do
find
the
it, you
time.
let me know. Otherwise, next time. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I'll share what Vishal had shared. He had shared some links. Yeah, good evening, Captain. Captain, the link is same every week. So the link I'd shared with you, it's the same. And if you want, you can join the group. I had sent you an invite for that as well.
Okay, no, I connected, but Sunday it's Thursday, Friday it is different, and today it is
Yes,
different.
yes. So I had
Okay.
sent you a link for Monday. So it
Yeah,
would be the same. I'll
yeah,
resend
yeah,
you the
yeah.
link
But
for
now,
the
now I
group.
have noted down already
Okay,
because
thank you,
I
Captain.
logged on at over 6:59, the other one. So it was
Okay,
telling there's some other meeting in progress.
okay, okay.
So
Yes.
then I thought, because now I've noted there is no issue. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Captain. Captain, do you have anything you would like to share at this point?
Yes,
Like
I
any?
was reading about the concentration of synthesis of yoga. So the very first chapter, I'll just open the book.
These few chapters from synthesis, like concentration, renunciation, release from ego, mind, body, those ones, those are so hard hitting. They are like
Yes, yes, yes.
absolutely a delight to read. And of course, there's more. I haven't read it fully. Yes.
So just
So,
I
what part
got it.
would you
Yeah.
like?
So the sentence starts with, in all yoga, there are indeed many preparatory objects of thought concentration, forms, verbal formulas of thought. It starts with, in all yoga, there are indeed many.
Yeah, found it.
Yeah, yeah, yes. So uh, I was reading that, probably I'll just read once more. In all yoga, there are indeed many preparatory objects of thought concentration, forms, verbal formulas of thought, significant names, all of which are supports to the mind in this movement, all of which have to be used and transcended. The highest support, according to the Upanishads, in the mystic syllable Om, whose 3 letters represent the Brahman or Supreme Self in its 3 degrees of status: the waking soul, the dream soul, and the sleep soul. And the whole potent sound rises towards that which is beyond status, as beyond activity. So initially, when I started trying to do meditation, actually, someone told me that you have to utter this syllable, means Om mantra, very perfectly. So you have to, means after doing, you're cleaning the mind and, of course, the body and mind and all, and you are at peace and all, and there is no other thoughts coming to the mind. So at that stage, you have to concentrate of that everything is pure. There is no sort of impurity, neither in thoughts and the body or something. And then probably this Om, the three letters, you have to utter as required to be uttered. And from there, the total energy we get when we are trying to concentrate. So I was trying to do this, and I saw that yes, there is a lot of improvement, particularly in my college days and all. So I could concentrate, and I saw that like keeping silence, not to talk unnecessarily, like while eating food, lunch, dinner, and all. It was a hostel like. So the people normally they talk so many things. Suppose 20, 30 people we are eating together, and they should talk. So I had one more friend, and we were not talking during that. And otherwise also we are not talking something which is not of much significance or something. If we are not talking also, nothing will happen to us, something like that. So I used to select and talk. So there was no such gossiping or anything of nature. And I saw that it was easy to like concentrate, because mind is at such a terrific speed, like a mad elephant it goes. But it's so that yes, we are for maybe for a short duration, we're in a position to hold the mind, and where mind is zero, like there is no thought is crossing the mind, but it's not very long time, So I try to do the practice, particularly early morning when maybe it's 4 o'clock or 4:30 during that time. And yes, I saw that there is improvement in me in concentration. Even now also, whatever I'm doing, if I'm doing something else, I totally get absorbed in that. Of course, now I'm aged, so maybe that may be another effect. But what has happened is that the flickering of the mind, it goes like this. So that is not going out. So in that particular subject, the mind is there. So one Dhyana Yoga, there is one book about Ramakrishna Mission. Somebody has written once. Shannashi has written, Maharaj. And in that he was telling that any part of the body of this thing, say Ramakrishna, you can concentrate. Suppose that picture is there, and say maybe the eyes, or maybe his face as such, or some portion of the body or something and all. And you just try to concentrate. And even Swami Vivekananda, when he was doing the meditation, and he was disturbed by the nearby factory sound or something, and so he told Ramakrishna Paramahansa that I am trying to concentrate, but that sound is disturbing me. He says, like a teacher, he says, you concentrate on that sound. You concentrate on that sound, the matter will be over. Because we do not have any control over the sound. That factory has to run and all this. I cannot just go and tell them that keep quiet because I'm doing meditation. So I have to prepare myself to face the challenge. So here, so I was, while reading this, I was remembering all that. So I was thinking that maybe I will speak about that. So if it's a continuous practice, like we used to read, the practice makes one perfect. So over a period of time of the practice, that gives a good result. I have seen in my case. I try to do the practice. It's not that boasting actually what I have done and all, but this I get that mental peace for that time because there is no other thought is crossing the mind in a zigzag way. Whatever I wanted to think, only those thoughts are coming. So it can be, it was possible to channelize in it. So that was the effect of my concentration during my studies, as well as uh, the not gossiping at the time. So even 2 years or 3 years back, I was taking a course here about the pain and sufferings of the human body. From this thing in that class, Monica ji was taking. And in that, so it's like every breath we are taking, every breath. So I'm the consciousness, or I'm not the body, or something. So every breathing in and also. So that so I was doing it as a great effect actually, because nothing to do, or I'm driving and while I'm in a signal, red signal. So what to do? There is nothing. That mind is trying to go here and there, not to catch all that. So I was telling, drive now. I'm not. And when I'm looking at my eyes are there in the street light, means signal, and when it's becoming green, then I'm just moving out. So this way, I'm trying to, and mind has got a tremendous force and energy. So that so much of energy is saved, not wasted actually by this concentration. So these are the things I just wanted to share on this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Captain. Only I think 2, 3 days back, I was reading something from the mother, and she had mentioned, some sadhak had asked this question that why is it not easy to meditate? And she had answered that because we have not been taught how to do it. We have not been taught how to still ourselves because there's so much going around all the time, and we just don't know how to become still. And if we were to know, and she had said, you're not taught this because most likely the parents don't know how to still themselves. And that's why, even in the sunlit path, I think this paragraph, a similar one is mentioned, that how the basic things about how to live, we are not taught at an early age because the right way is often not known by the parents themselves. So even in this chapter, Synthesis of Yoga, Sri Aurobindo clearly mentions, and I think we have taken it up sometime, that with concentration, so this is the line, that by concentration on anything whatsoever, we are able to know that thing, to make it deliver up its concealed secrets. We must use this power to know not things, but the one thing in itself. So I find this very powerful, that anything is possible, anything is possible. Yeah. So, any reflections, any thoughts on what was shared? Although Captain spoke really fast, it was hard to follow a little, but we got his love and passion and his essence of how when he concentrates, things just make more sense. He feels he has made progress with this stillness, not to indulge into gossips, and stilling the mind, focusing on one thing at one time, being fully present. So at a young age, he was doing this dynamic meditation all the time. So that's what I understood. Yeah. So, yeah, Vishal had shared with me 2 links. I'll share one of them, and probably he can guide us as to how he would like to proceed. So this is the secret of effort. So it aligns with what Captain had shared. So we'll start with this one. Yeah, Vishal, do you have the capacity to unmute? Should we read the whole?
There's a lot of background noise. I'll probably need another 10-15 minutes, so maybe somebody can start reading.
Okay, the whole thing, right?
Yeah. I just
Okay.
sent like whichever ones, not necessarily only for today, but we
Yeah,
can just keep.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, would anybody like to read this? Otherwise, I'll read The Secret of Effort by the Mother.
I'll read.
Okay, thank you, Captain.
The secret of effort, Mother. As with everything in yoga, the effort for progress must be made for the love of the effort for progress. The joy of effort, the aspiration for progress must be enough in themselves, quite independent of the result. Everything one does in yoga must be done for the joy of doing it and not in view of the result one wants to obtain. Indeed, in life, always in all things, the result does not belong to us. And if we want to keep the right attitude, we must act, feel, think, strive spontaneously. For that is what we must do, and not in view of the result to be obtained. As soon as we think of the result, we begin to bargain, and that takes away all sincerity from the effort. You make an effort to progress because you feel within you the need, the imperative need to make an effort and progress. And this effort is the gift you offer to the divine consciousness in you. The divine consciousness in the universe. It is your way of expressing your gratitude, offering yourself, and whether this results in progress or not is of no importance. You will progress when it is decided that the time has come to progress and not because you desire it. If you wish to progress, if you make an effort to control yourself, for instance, to overcome certain defects, weaknesses, imperfections, and if you expect to get a more or less immediate result from your effort loses all sincerity. It becomes a bargaining. You say, see, I am going to make an effort, but that is because I want this in exchange for my effort. You are no longer spontaneous, no longer natural. So there are two things to remember. First, we are incapable of judging what the result ought to be. If we put our trust in the divine, if we say, well, now I am going to give everything, all I can give, effort, concentration, and he will judge what has to be given in exchange, or even whether anything should be given in exchange. And I do not know what the result should be. Before we transform anything in ourselves, are we quite sure of the direction, the way, the form that this transformation should take? Not at all. So it is only our imagination, and usually we greatly limit the result to be obtained and make it altogether petty, mean, superficial, relative. We do not know what the result can truly be, what it ought to be. We know it later. When it comes, when the change takes place, then if we look back, we say, ah, that's it. That is what I was moving towards. But we know it only later, because that we only have vague imaginations which are quite superficial and childish in comparison with the true progress, the true transformation.
Yes, thank you, Captain. I think a part of this passage, similar essence is also mentioned in the sunlit part. We had taken that up, that for the joy, be good for the sake of goodness and not because you think being good will get you things. But that is the way we are told, right? Like if you do good things, you will go to heaven. If you do bad things, you'll go to hell. So initially, to tame the caveman or, the jungle person, those things were needed. Those crude things were needed, that if you do good, you'll get good. If you do bad, you'll get bad. But probably when one feels ready, right, one doesn't need that carrot on the stick. But because we come on this path from where we come, the carrot on the stick, or, what will I get? What will I get? Early, and for me, I felt the trick was that, okay, earlier, if say I wanted 100 things, or, something which is of a number 100, and if today, if I'm wanting 5 or 4, I feel that, this is good, I have come down so much, I hardly want anything. And it was, I think, maybe 2.5 years back that I read something from Sri Aurobindo, which said that if there is even a trace, I'm paraphrasing here, of what I will get, or this is what I'm getting from here, that thing will not help you in your purity. It will again just add to your ego. So even a trace of what's in it for me makes it impure. So this I, wherever it comes, even in a trace, it makes it impure. So it's very beautiful reminder that we need to be reminded again and again that everything I do should be for the love of what I'm doing and not because what I'll get from it. And yet sometimes we have to, especially when we are starting a new discipline, a new effort, when it's hard, when everything in us is resisting, we sometimes have to say that, this will lead me to stillness, or this is good. I mean, we have to motivate ourselves with that, but it should be dropped as soon as we are able to do it. Or some people might not even need it. I do to push myself into wherever I want to. Yeah. So we'll just take it up a little bit, and then when Vishal can unmute, he can take it over and share what he wanted to. So basically, the essence is, as with everything in yoga, effort for progress must be made for the love of the effort for the progress. And this is why probably they say that if it's not coming naturally, or if it's too hard, or maybe you keep going back, then first go and do what you want to do. Because it's important to be disgusted with what I have been doing to want to progress. And once you know the other part you have already lived, you don't want anything to do with it, then the love for the effort comes very spontaneously. So the joy of effort, the aspiration for progress must be enough in themselves, quite independent of the result. Everything one does in yoga must be done for the joy of doing it and not in view of the result one wants to obtain. I'm just repeating that we are so used to, it's been hammered into us that, okay, do this because you will get this, what's in it for me in our regular lives is so hammered into us that we need to repeatedly remind ourselves, because as soon as there is any result that I am aspiring or hoping for, it just impurifies, I think it distorts, I think is the right word. It distorts what I am going towards. Because then me with my limited vision will only want the limited, and I will limit things. So indeed in life, Mother says, always in all things, the result does not belong to us. And if we want to keep the right attitude, we must act, feel, think, strive spontaneously. Act, feel, think, strive spontaneously. For that is what we must do, and not in the view of the result to be obtained. So this was very nicely, again, very interesting to read that as soon as we think of the result, we begin to bargain. That's what I was talking about, that I felt that instead of 100, if I'm asking or not asking, but hoping for 5, that is great progress. So we begin to bargain, and that takes away all sincerity from the effort. The same thing I have even noticed with expectations in relationships and all, or with life. If we wanted somebody to do this, get me the moon and the stars. And right now, if I just want them to get me a glass of water without asking, I would say that, instead of stars, I'm asking for water, and they can't even give me that. But I don't see in my cleverness that I'm still asking, I'm still expecting, and it's not what I am expecting that causes pain and suffering, it's the expectation in itself. So that takes a lot of time to learn and catch and offer. So you make an effort to progress because you feel within you the need, the imperative need to make an effort and progress, that life cannot be this, we cannot be here for this. We all have our own getting to that point. And this effort is the gift you offer to the divine consciousness in you, the divine consciousness in the universe. So it is your way of expressing your gratitude, offering yourself, and whether this results in progress or not is of no importance. You will progress when it is decided that the time has come to progress, and not because you desire it. Even with our our efforts, our yoga, our whatever we do expect that this will make us calmer, more peaceful, less angry, more happy. And we keep judging, right? We keep kind of trying to compare. It feels very natural to do that. And yet we don't know how to judge. So doing it rather as an expression of your gratitude is what Mother is saying. Because the result, we are so focused on result, can't be stressed enough. But when we look in ourselves, we'll see it everywhere. So the result or not, in progress or not, is of no importance. She didn't say little importance. She said no importance. You will progress when it is decided that the time has come for progress, and not because you desire it. And somewhere I'd also read, that was also beautiful, that even before you feel you are ready or you deserve it, a lot of time things open up because you can't judge when is the right time. So just pausing here after these 2 paragraphs, maybe we should have even taken 2 at a time, but yeah, any comments on what we have just read so far?
Yeah, one thing.
Great. Go ahead, Ritu.
Okay, thanks. So when we say that an aim in life is very important and the quality of the aim is also very important. So here the aim is not a little similar to the result, like we are wanting something, we have set a target, let's say any target, maybe to purify ourselves or to be more balanced, So is that not aiming towards a result?
Yeah, Vishal, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think if there is, I think Shobando said, if there is one desire, to desire the divine is not really a desire, it's an aspiration, right? So that is how he puts it. It's an aspiration. It is a natural, something spontaneous in you because, she is in you, right? So that is, it's like you're saying that, the seed wants to grow into a tree, right? Well, that's natural. It's going to happen. So that what you're describing, no, that is a good, I mean, it is natural. You can call it like an aim, but it's actually something very spontaneous in the being. The thing is, it is dormant. So now the seed is dormant, but now if it sprouts, wants to rise, whatever obstacle it'll go around and rise, right? So that is, I think, that's how I see it. That what at least what I have read. Uh, so that is, that should not be. I think here Mother is talking more, or and even this aligns with the Gita, right? But like effort in whatever we do, like for example, and it may be that even we may put effort in certain disciplines and we are not maybe getting the result as fast as we can. So I think that one Mother is making it clear the divine knows better than you, right? I mean, I think Captain was giving us this he was telling us about silencing the mind and quietening the mind. Now maybe you might experience something very quickly, maybe you won't, but that is you know that journey is obviously the effort is a component. What your past samskaras are, that is also a component, right? And then there's the divine grace, all of them are acting together. So that's like a very complex thing. But one of the things I was also taking away, or just something that effort now is in everything, right? So I think we have shared sometimes being spontaneous. So that is also, it's not just in, you could say, okay, one part is to also progress, but Shubhendu says all life is yoga. So, we are here, we are speaking to each other. Again, there was a story or episode I'd heard on Sahana Di. She was a very accomplished dancer and performer, and but so she told, I think it was Radha's prayer, or so she was performing and she would get very nervous. And mother, she went to the mother, and mother said, there is an expectation from you on how people will perceive it. See, the moment that comes in, it's like over, right? That there is an expectation from you, like how will you be perceived? Well, okay, they may like you, they may not. You're offering it to the divine, right? That's all she's saying. You are offering it to the divine. We are not offering it to A or B or C or this audience in front of me. The divine wants, you know, the offering is only as good as the sincerity of my offering, right? If I just said, this is my capacity right now, I'm offering in all of my capacity, he's happy, right? It is not about how great you are, how much you know, how much you don't know. You just offer with love. So that is the one, story that came to mind, or incident. And then Aparna Didi in actually Delhi Ashram said a beautiful story. Yes, we may have talked about it, or maybe Monica or Taru might have talked about it. But it is about this um, this bull. The couple of farmers, or whatever, they're taking him through, and then he falls into the ditch. I'll just keep it short. She says it very much more beautifully. And he falls into the ditch, and so now it's a deep ditch. They can't take him out. They realize they can't take him out. So they say, okay, well, we can't take him out, so you might as well, you just make that his grave and bury him there, right? So he's still there. So they start throwing sand. Then he's like, okay, he's, howling there inside, right? He's like kicking and this and that. What are these guys doing? They're throwing sand at me. But then he sees, like, after some time, as he throws sand, he's rising a little bit, right? So he becomes very, suddenly his whole outlook changes. His whole outlook changes. Now, every time the sand is thrown, he's happy. He's like, okay, I get an opportunity to rise more, right? It's a beautiful story because we look, oh, something happened, we are all, slaves of Prakriti. Something happens. I mean, just yesterday this happened, but I won't go into the incident. And, I got upset and I was like, telling her, what is this? What am I getting so upset about for this thing? I mean, somebody was behaving really badly. And then I said, so you see, so then, initially, later I think, okay, I should be thankful to that person that he actually showed me this thing, right? So you actually realize that these are opportunities that you get, and then you wait for the next test because you will be tested. And that is the joy of the effort, that is the joy of progress because we want to progress. So when we look at all opportunities that are given to us, Captain was talking, when we are waiting at, driving the car or whatever, right? And you have some time, well, maybe you can use it to quieten the mind or, so it's just there are so many opportunities. So that is the joy in the effort, right? If somebody says something and you choose not to react, every there are numerous opportunities given to us throughout the day. And I think that is really, if we begin to enjoy that and we begin to take joy in that effort, then truly, then it is, I think that is what Mother here is referring to.
Anyone else would like to say anything or reflect on this? Okay. So, Ritu, you had said that, say, I want purity, right? And that's my aim. So if one were to ask you that, why do you want purity, more purity in your life? What would you say to that?
I think because as of now, when I look at myself, I see that everything which I think is impure for me makes me uneasy and restless and unhappy. And everything which I think is purity gives me, makes me more peaceful and less chaotic.
Yeah. So as in what you are saying is that purity in itself will bring you more happiness then, right? Will make it easier for you, lighter for you, happier for you, your life.
या more balanced में भी मतलब
Yeah.
जैसे विकार बोलते हैं हाँ
Yeah. So basically, if I were to say that, okay, go, become more pure and you will get 100,000 rupees. So do you see that if I give it some number or some amount, how the goal is kind of reduced? Like then if somebody says, "Ki, okay, gain purity because you're gaining money," for example, if you're becoming pure, then my aim would be distorted and it will become small. Okay, I have to gain purity for becoming popular or because I will get that money, right? But as you just
हम्म,
said, purity in itself is the reward.
yeah
The aim in itself is the reward. I don't need to be given anything else. I don't need to be enticed. I don't need a carrot. So you'll say 100, मतलब ये 1,000 रुपए या 1,000 rupees, you give me or not give me. Purity in itself is something I aspire for because in itself, it's adding more beauty in my life, right?
okay so that's not a result
That's not a result. वो thing अपने, that's the nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like say if we say we work hard because then we'll get money, then we'll buy a good house, then we will be comfortable. And there's a Khalil Gibran who's saying that, the lust for comfort kills the passion for the soul. Right? So the same thing, that why am I, like, this is my aim, why I have this aim? What do I want from that aim? And if somebody could say that nothing, having that aim only adds so much beauty in my life. It makes it beautiful.
Mm.
है ना? So that's the thing. The center, you might feel that they're
Mm-hmm.
saying the same thing, but it's the center from which you're operating, right?
Yeah.
Let me bring more stillness in my life. Let me learn how to meditate properly. Maybe if I know how to meditate properly, maybe I can open classes. And if I'll open classes, then maybe I'll become popular and then I'll become rich. We don't know. We are crazy people. Those aims and ambitions and, those cravings or those desires can just come from anywhere without me even realizing. And they come so slowly. And they come so, like just a small thing. Say, what if, it's just a side result? What's the problem in getting it? But it creeps up on you like this. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all.
right. Right.
Yes, so we have read the first two passages again. I'm just going through it because it's really important. That if you wish to progress, if you make an effort to control yourself, for instance, to overcome certain defects, weaknesses, imperfections, and if you expect to get a more or less immediate result from your effort loses all sincerity. It becomes a bargaining. So basically, I'm so used to being a businessman, right? A trader, doing this, getting this for that, doing this for this. This I do for love, this I do for money, this I do for name, this I do for fame. So then with divine also, with our efforts also, with our aspirations also, we have to keep looking and making sure, if possible, to the best of our capacities, that it doesn't become another trade. Give me this, I will give you that. You know how we often, when we ask for something, especially in India, it's very common. Now we say, okay, give me this, and then I don't know, give you this much prasad and stuff. It's cute, and yet if we look at the big picture, it's quite funny. That why would the divine care for that? But we are used to those bargainings. Now, this also reminds me, and I think we discussed it in psychic education a little bit. In one of his talks, Alokda, he was talking about, say, purity or havans, they say Durga pujas and all these pujas, these rituals that we perform. And he said the actual thing that needs to be put in the fire is myself, right? Like I need to be pure. But what I focus on all is, say, if somebody has a puja in the house, okay, the house is clean and everything is clean and all the samagri is there, and it's a very superficial aspect. And yet it is an aspect, one can't deny it. But what needs to be put in the fire is me. And then, he had shared that poem that Sri Aurobindo, I don't know if he had translated or who it is by, in which that there was this line that, tujhe malinta nahi pasand, to main amit malin banunga. Like saying this to the mother, that since you don't like impurity, my offering to you is that I will become purity. So I will make myself pure so that I can offer myself to you. So that is also one of the aspirations for purity, right? That I can offer myself purely, in the most pure form I am capable of offering to the divine. In any form I would worship them.
Sorry, Tarun. Can you please repeat it? he's saying to the mother that you don't like impurity. After that, I lost. Can you
Yeah,
please repeat
since
it
you
again?
don't like impurity, this is the reason I will become pure. And I will make myself pure for you. So there's no other reason, there's no other aim or, for that, except the fact that I want to be pure because I want to offer you the purest. Say, if we are doing anything for the divine, right? Even say you set up flowers, right? In your home temple, you share pictures sometimes. If you were to choose, you would get the best flowers, like the most freshest and everything. But then when it comes to myself, I allow a lot of negativities or sometimes gossips or things I know I have to reject. I allow them, but then how do I offer myself to the mother? I mean, I must still do it, but that too is just an aspiration, is what I was trying to share. But please unmute, you were saying something.
Thank you, Taru. Now I got it.
Okay. Okay, so just we are at the end of our time. So it becomes a bargaining. You say, see, I'm going to make an effort, but that's because I want this in exchange for my effort. You are no longer spontaneous, no longer natural.
One thing just is reading from Thoughts and Aphorisms, I think, I'm not sure, but tied to this. So I think maybe some Shobhanta or Mata, I'm not sure, that you are only as valuable to the divine in proportion that you give yourself. I'm not saying it right. So in proportion you give yourself, that much value you are to the divine. I mean, it's a pretty hard-hitting statement, but it's a very powerful. Essentially, what you have given, we were just talking, you were so beautifully saying, Taru, that, all this, the purity and all of these things, we are trying to basically, how much of ourselves are we giving to the divine? If you give all, right? And so even this, sometimes, this thing that we attach importance to our giving. And again, there it can be spontaneous, even charities people do, and then they want their name and everything. And it's, of course, that we see a lot. But just whatever we are giving, I mean, I think last week we read that, be like a flower. It also ties to this, right? It's again that spontaneity. It is just giving, does not care, how the recipient is going to take it. Just giving. The sun is out, it just wants to, you know, just, when it's all its glory, it says, come look at me. So this is, I think this, we can take this, and the more of ourselves we can give. If we see some part that is closed, we offer it to her, we give it, you transform it that much, then the divine essentially is, I mean, to the divine, that's how valuable you are, right? Now, of course, we are all her, so there is not a question of like, but it is mean that much you have, their unification has happened. So, then there is that, there are points that come where you see, okay, well, there is, I'm completely absorbed in her, right? I think when, Alokta says, right, this, and I think there's that beautiful, we should play that song again, or that bhajan. I love it, Taru, that we have played it here. I have saved it. I think it's from Indore Ashram, right? You take my good, um, uh, take my good qualities, take my bad qualities. Everything you take, right? Like, it's just like, I don't, discriminate. It's like, I'm just giving to you everything. And, I don't know, do you remember that, the one I'm mentioning? It's a beautiful
Yeah,
bhajan.
I'll share it on the group. And
Yeah. What is, I forget how it starts, but yeah, it's very, very beautiful.
yeah, I'll share it. And so just, I don't know if we have time to take the last passage, but we have read it anyway. Just to end this. So, two things to remember. Again, good for us to know this again and again. We are incapable of judging what the result ought to be. If we put our trust in the divine, if we say, well, now I'm going to give everything, all I can give, effort, concentration, and he will judge what has to be given in exchange, or even whether anything should be given in exchange, and I do not know what the result should be. Before we transform anything in ourselves, are we quite sure of the direction, the way, the form that this transformation should take? Not at all. We technically don't know what is the result, what should be the result, where should I be going, because mother says for everyone it's different. I had shared, recently when somebody asked what happens after death. And mother says to the sadhak, for that too is different for everyone. Because when the life is different, the thoughts are different, the perceptions are different, why should death be same for everyone? What happens after death? So again, can't be stressed enough that I am incapable of judging what the result ought to be. So it is only our imagination, and we greatly limit the result to be obtained. Limit, distort, we know what we do, or if we don't, praying that we do. That usually we usually we greatly limit the result to be obtained and make it altogether petty, mean, superficial, relative. Because I, being myself, operating from my ego, that is where I operate from. I have pettiness, I am mean, I am superficial, I am relative. Everything is relative for me. So when I even take bigger tasks or higher tasks, my tendency does not end. So I have to reject it. I have to look at it. I have to recognize it, offer it, reject it, and aspire for no expectations and judgments. We do not know what the result can truly be, what it ought to be. We know it later when it comes, when the change takes place. Then if we look back, we say, that's it. That is what I was moving towards. But we know it only later. And we would be able to agree to this from our experiences. So the last sentence, before that, we only have vague imaginations, which are quite superficial and childish in comparison with the true progress and true transformation. Because I am childish, my vision is limited. So whatever that comes through me will be limited. So it would be so much nicer if I can truly step back, do whatever is needed to be done with the best of my capability, honesty, sincerity, with my head bowed down, and not to worry about the result, because that too then becomes an ambition. We say ambition is bad, and we think if I'm giving up my regular ambitions in life, that's enough. But here too, ambition creeps in all forms and matter, and we shouldn't allow that. As soon as we see one can stop and offer it. So I would have loved to take reflections, but the time is up. So if there's anything, please do share it on the group. I'll share the link of what we read today as well. And we'll take up any other reflections in the next session. So thanking Grace, thanking Divine for these teachings, for these directions, these pointers, these support systems, these guidelines that can help me, that will help me, that must help me to reach or unreach, I don't know, from wherever it is that I want to come from and go to. So may I do good for the sake of goodness and no nothing else that I want from them. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. And
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishalji. Thank you,
Thank you so
Captain.
much.